There are things you hear your whole life, but you never really know if they're true, or just stories made up to scare people. But anyone who lives near Pine Hollow in rural Missouri has probably come across this tale, the one about room number 3 at the Sunset Motel. That motel, which isn't open anymore, used to sit right off State Highway 14. It was the kind of place truckers would use for a quick overnight stop, or couples would avoid because of its bad reputation. Nobody stayed there because they wanted to, only because they had to. They say it all started back in the 1980s, when the motel was still operating normally. It had 7 rooms in total, but number 3 was always trouble. Lights burned out for no reason. The lock constantly broke, and there was a water stain on the wall that never seemed to dry, not even in the driest summers. But what really scared people was the noise. Every staff member who worked there ended up asking not to be assigned room 3. One guy, named Jim, only lasted 2 weeks on the night shift. He said that around 2 in the morning, you could hear someone walking inside the room, even when it was unoccupied. Slow footsteps, like someone barefoot on a wooden floor. One winter night in 1987, a couple stopped there during a snowstorm. The owner, Mr. Walter, told them only room 3 was available. They were so tired and afraid of the icy road that they agreed to stay. The next morning, they left before sunrise without saying a word, not even stopping for breakfast. When Walter entered the room, he found the bed untouched. The sheets weren't even wrinkled, but on the pillow there was a folded piece of paper with just one sentence written, "She's still here." After that, nobody wanted to stay in that room again. But Walter couldn't close the whole motel over it, so he had a carpenter seal the door of room 3, nailed it shut. The strange thing was, even sealed, people still heard sounds coming from inside. The cleaning ladies said they heard the sink dripping or muffled laughter. One of them claimed she heard someone whisper her name. Over the years, the Sunset Motel fell apart. The highway got less traffic, and the few travelers preferred to drive farther into town. Walter died in 1998, and the place was abandoned. But the story didn't end there. In 2009, a group of teenagers did what teenagers often do. They broke into the motel at night to prove they were brave. One of them, named Toby, said they got in through a window at the back. It was summer, and weeds covered most of the building, but the inside was still mostly intact. There were 5 of them, all with flashlights and phones. They were laughing, filming everything, until one of them noticed that the door to room 3 was slightly open. That caught everyone off guard, since the room was known to be sealed shut. A rusty sign still hung on the door that read, "Do not enter." Toby said one of the boys, the bravest or maybe just the dumbest, pushed the door open. Inside was dusty, but the bed looked like it had been freshly made. None of them wanted to step inside. They just looked from the doorway. That's when Toby's flashlight went out. He said everything went dark for a few seconds, and in that moment they heard a voice. A woman's voice, whispering. No one understood what she said. That was enough for them to run. The strangest part came the next day. Toby noticed that his phone, which had stayed on all night, had somehow recorded an audio file by accident. He said he had no idea how it happened, but the file was there. When he played it, he heard slow footsteps and the sound of someone crying. In the background, a phrase repeated over and over, "Come back to me." After that, no one wanted to go near the motel again, not even for a photo. In 2015, lightning struck part of the roof, causing a small fire. The fire department just put out the flames and left. The place still stands, or what's left of it. People who drive by at night swear they still see the faded sign, glowing with some strange light during rainy nights. But what really grabs attention is that the door to room number 3 is always slightly open. Asterisk after that fire in 2015, no one tried entering the Sunset Motel again. Most of the windows were shattered. Weeds had overtaken the entrance, and the neon sign that once blinked the motel's name was now completely rusted over. Still, from time to time, people kept talking about room number 3. It was common to hear stories at the local gas station, where truckers would stop for coffee and swap old tailies. The motel's name always came up in conversations, especially on rainy nights. In 2019, a man named Carl Jenkins showed up in Pine Hollow. He was one of those internet explorers, people who like to film abandoned places and post videos online. Carl had already visited old factories, vacant houses, and even shut down hospitals. He heard about the Sunset Motel in an online forum, where someone mentioned it was too dangerous to enter because of room 3. Naturally, that made him even more curious. Carl arrived in town on a cloudy September morning. He stopped at a diner and started asking about the motel. Most folks avoided answering, saying it was dangerous because of the building's poor condition, risk of collapse and all. But an elderly woman who was serving coffee at the diner looked at Carl and said, "If you go there, don't mess with room 3, not even as a joke." Carl didn't think much of it. That afternoon, he drove to the site, parked near the overgrown entrance, and began filming. The video was never posted, but his brother Ben received a message from him. That same day, Carl had sent a strange voice recording saying only, "I'm inside 3. Something's wrong here." Ben tried calling him back, but the phone went straight to voicemail. Worried, he drove to Pine Hollow the next day and found Carl's car still parked in front of the motel. He called the police, who did a quick search. They found Carl's backpack in the hallway, but no sign of him. Police claimed he might have wandered off, maybe gotten lost in the nearby woods. The strange part was that Carl's phone was found days later, inside room 3, and the door, previously slightly open, was now locked from the inside. The local sheriff, a man named Doyle, was interviewed by a regional newspaper at the time. He said there was no evidence of a crime, but refused to answer when asked if he had gone inside the room. He simply said, "Some things are better left alone." Since then, Carl Jenkins' disappearance has spread online as an unsolved mystery. There are theories claiming it was all a stunt, that Carl made it up for followers. Others believe he never existed, that he was just a made-up character, but his family confirms everything. Ben still lives in St. Louis, and sometimes gives interviews saying he carries a heavy burden for not stopping his brother. He shares the audio he received that day. There's one chilling part. Right after the phrase, "Something's wrong here," you can hear knocking, like someone pounding, on a wall, followed by heavy breathing. And then a woman's whisper, "Why did you come back?" The motel still stands today. Weeds have nearly swallowed it whole, but the structure remains. Some locals say the place should be demolished, that nothing good ever came from it. Others believe that disturbing it might make things worse. Some say the spirit of that woman, no one knows who she was, is trapped in room 3, waiting for something, or someone. And the door? It's still locked. But people who pass by swear they've seen a light on inside, even though the building hasn't had electricity for years. Others say that on stormy nights, you can see someone looking out the window, waiting. The story of the Sunset Motel has no ending, just silence. And the disappearance of Carl, along with the voices, the knocks, and the notes left over the years, still haunts those who dare to get too close. Just to be safe, folks in Pine Hollow avoid driving past it. And when someone asks at the gas station if room number 3 still exists, they answer, "Yes, it does." And so does she.